Right. Okay. So for this video, I'm going to talk about when you step into business, you've got to do it solo. And when you're starting your entrepreneurship journey, you cannot afford to be in a relationship. And I'm going to tell you why. So, what they don't tell you about business and when you get started is that it's a very, very, very lonely journey. And the initial stages when you're getting started, when you're getting that plane off the ground, you don't have the luxury of time and comfort. So, for example, there's a lot of sacrifices, whether that be with friends, family, events, holidays. And if you're really serious about breaking the mold and being in that top 5% and being in that winner's circle, you have to make sacrifices. And it's not easy, and not everyone can do that. And that's why you don't have that many successful people. That's why we talk about the top 5%. And the journey's a struggle. And with business, you've got overheads, you've got potentially business loans, you've got people to pay, products, services to sell, whatever your setup is. And when you're getting started, you're not going to know everything, and that's part of growth and why you get into business. And the bottom line is, it's a lonely journey, and you have to invest so many hours. And that's why I say it's better off for people to get a 9 to 5 and work a 40-hour job, because they might complain about the type of work that they do and the time spent, but they get that security. When you're in business, when you're in startup phases, when you're setting up an SME, you don't have that luxury where you'll have a guaranteed income every month. And sometimes it can even take years to get your business off the ground. And of course, it's case by case, depending on the structure, your partnerships, element of luck and skill and everything coming together. But it's not uncommon that you have to learn very quickly, and you're not going to be able to do that unless you're in that situation. And when you're in these situations where you've got to raise capital and you've got to sell products, you've got to sell services, you've got deadlines, you've got objectives, when you're in these predicaments, then that's when your brain will evolve and a switch will click, and then you'll learn how to adapt and how to make money, because you have to really be in it. You have to be in that pressure cooker environment. And the problem is, there's only 24 hours in a day. You can get away with 5 to 6 hours sleep, but you can't burn the candle up at both ends. So what I'm trying to say is, there's certain things you can compromise and certain things you can't. You can't compromise your rest, because 1 or 2 nights a week you'll get away with it, but you're not going to be able to be productive and functional. You're not going to be able to think straight if you've not rested well. So you've got the stress of sleeping and rest, and that is what it is. Sometimes you won't be able to sleep because you've got things to do, you've got things on your mind. Number two, you've got your business stress, and that is part of the game, and that's why we're in it, because that's just what we love to do. And what you then can't afford to have is relationship stress. And believe me, relationships are stress. 100%, no doubt. It doesn't matter what level you are in your relationship, but whether it's a girlfriend, a fiance, wife, women, they want time, and they want your time, and that's all they want. And when you're in business, this is the one thing that you don't have as a luxury. So as part of your development, you have to be very selfish. So as I talk about in previous videos, going to the gym early in the morning, getting that boxed off. And there's a reason why we do it in the morning, and there's a reason why we, make extra time in the day. It's part of our development. We need to be in good physical shape, and that'll help with our mindset. And obviously that translates into performance. So even in something that we may enjoy doing, like working out, we have to compromise and do that early hours, early doors, to get that boxed off. But then, 7, 8 o'clock, we're then getting into work and we're doing what we need to do. And days won't end till 9, 10 p.m., depending on where you are. But the reality is, if you're on it, if you're a CEO and you're responsible for making things happen, and especially when you're early in your journey, you've got to work at your max capacity. You've got to pull all your resources together, and that's never ending. There's not enough hours in a day, and you've got to work at your max capacity. The problem is when you get in a relationship, your energy gets divided and it pulls you away. Women intrinsically just don't understand the game of business. I'll say maybe 3% do, and they're your leaders. But for the vast majority, that's not the case. All a woman wants is your time and your energy and your love, care, and affection, and even stupid things like watching Netflix for hours on end, or going out for brunch, having a coffee, some dinner. Very basic things, but these things take time, 2-3 hours out your day, which unfortunately you don't have. And getting yourself in a relationship when you're starting a business is just going to be a road to disaster, because women don't understand, and they're emotional creatures, and they can't process the journey of business. And they think, right, if you're not texting them back, or if you're not talking much, or if you're ending the phone calls early, you're not answering the phone calls at all, something must be the problem. And that's not the case. It's just that you have to be very, like a racehorse, very like single track minded, in terms of you're going in one direction, you have to go there. And again, I've seen it before in the past where women will just get upset and they'll like attack you. And when I say attack, I don't mean physically. I mean worse. They'll attack you emotionally and mentally. And I'll give you an example. Let's just say there's been situations where, you work till 11, 12 o'clock and you have a girlfriend and she's waiting for your time, and it's time to go to sleep. You've had a shower and your laptop switched off and it's time to call it a day. And, your girlfriend's just going to want to spend time, in the sense of, and they'll pull it out at you in crazy ways, in the sense of, they know you're tired, they know you're sleep deprived, they know you're stressed, but they know, you know what, I'm not going to get a civil conversation, so I'm going to start an argument, or I'm going to push some buttons, or I'm going to invoke a response. And this happens, and I've seen it, and you can't afford that, because all that happens is your energy gets depleted, you compromise on sleep quality, and you get stuck in a never-ending cycle. And it's just a recipe for disaster, and it's not something that's sustainable. Like, the reason why men get into business is because we want respect, we want power, we want the wealth, the status, and everything that comes with all of the sacrifice that's been put in. And this is what they don't tell you, this is what they don't show you behind the scenes. And that's why I'm here to give you a no-filtered approach in terms of what it's really like, because people ask me all the time, what do I do? What have I been up to? What's happening behind the scenes? What projects am I working on? And people think it's quick and easy, and you can treat it as a side hustle and live day to day as if nothing ever happened. But again, that's not the case. And it's a lonely journey. And the more you get yourself engrossed into business, the more lonely it becomes, because you just don't have the time. It's not fair on a partner or a girlfriend to bring them through that as well. So my advice is, don't even entertain a relationship when you're in startup business phases. Once you've achieved your goals and you've got your business to where it needs to be, and you've chased, the money in a sense, then women will come around and chase you. So you don't have to pick up that headache, but you can't push and pull in two directions. And that's where a lot of guys go wrong, and they have business stress, they have financial stress, they have relationship stress, and then it's game over. So that would be my advice in terms of, if you are serious about business, you got to think about, are you prepared to make these sacrifices? And for a lot of people, the answer is no. And you got to ask yourself, how bad do you want it? Because what women don't understand is, there's obviously time that you're going to miss out spending with you, but what you're doing is for a better future, and you've got to delay gratification, don't you, in terms of the long-term benefits. And people just want a quick fix, and spending hours on a weekend and evening doing things that are mindless and not productive just for a bit of short-term gratification and keeping smiles on people's faces, you'll get to a point where your business is going to slow down and you're not getting the results. And business is all about momentum. It's all about forward momentum, and you need to move forward, and you need to move forward fast. And once you slow down, it's hard to then get that pendulum shifting in your direction again. So it's a very selfish journey, and you're going to miss out on friends, family events, holidays. But if you want it, and if you really want it, and you'll see people in PJs and flying first class and holidays, nice supercars, designer, but that's after the fact, isn't it? It's after the fact. And what you don't see is the graft, where you're working 10 hours a day minimum, really, more like 13 to 15, and you're putting in work. So being in a relationship just doesn't work, because at the time of you growing in your business space, women want your time, and you can't be in two places at once. You've got to be laser focused going in one direction, and that's how you sustain your business and your growth. Something to think about if you are really serious about business. I get a couple of people in the comment and sending DMs saying, look, I want to start a clothing brand, or I want to step into FX, or where shall I start? I need to start with yourself. This is why I talk about the personal and professional development. And this is why I'm so big on training and having a routine and being regimented, having a system and a structure, because if you can start making this into your lifestyle, certain habits that's going to help you and cross over into business, then you're already one step in the right direction. So training first thing, obviously you can check out the total package training program if you want a head start. But these are the steps, and it's a lonely journey. And if you are serious about business, you're going to have to make compromises. And believe me, you can't afford to have a woman in your life when you're starting business. It's not going to work. You need to be laser focused, and you can pick that up later on in life. And that's something you have to really think about. How bad do you want it? Are you prepared to make these sacrifices? This is coming from someone who's been 10 years in the game. So I've been around the world and I've seen them all. And believe me, this is what it takes. You have to be laser focused, and it's a selfish journey, and it's a solo journey, especially at the start. And if you want it that bad, this is what you got to think about. Feel free to leave comments, send me a DM. Obviously subscribe if you haven't already, and share your thoughts and your insights. Have you been in a situation before where you're in a relationship and you're in a business and one of the two collapsed? Do you think there's any correlation? We'll see. Anyway, we'll check in for the next one. And till then, hit subscribe. If you've had value, hit the like button and all that good stuff. And yeah, we're signing out.